So good morning everyone. My name is Lalit Soni and I welcome you all in this live session by Drishti IAS. In today's session, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. We will discuss the news articles from weekend as well. That is your Saturday and Sunday. We will take up important articles from Saturday and Sunday, and then we will be discussing today's newspaper. Okay. So let's see. We'll start with the practice question as usual, and then we'll move forward with the articles of the day. That is eyes on Eastern Ladakh. So basically, now our defense services are trying to create another command, or you can say basically another division over here. So we will talk about that division and why we are creating that division. You don't have to remember the number of the division or what is the serial number of that particular division. That is of no use for you. Just the thing is that why we are creating it, that is more important. Okay. Other than that, you should remember that how many divisions are there, and how many of them are taking care of Pakistan border, how many are focused on China border. Okay. Then a turtle becomes a mascot. So basically, you know that a mascot is basically declared by Election Commission of India, and basically in that particular constituency of Baneshwar, wherein Election Commission of India has declared a mascot, that is a turtle. Okay, and name of that turtle is Mohan Babu. Okay, so we will discuss about that, and we will discuss the history behind it. We will try to see what are the environmental aspect related to it, what are the historical aspect related to it, why we are discussing this particular topic, because there are chances that they might give you the name and ask you what is the significance of that particular name. Okay, then we will be moving forward with the next article, which is related to CDP Suraksha. Okay, so this is basically you can say scheme in agriculture wherein some benefits, or you can say some attached benefits are being given to farmers. Okay, so government has come up with a new way to do that, so that particular way is under Suraksha. We will be talking about that. Then Dragon's Egg Nebula. Okay, so this is where we will be talking about a celestial body, or you can say a group of celestial bodies which are having a appearance of like a dragon's egg. Okay, then Kutsia Bagh. Okay, we have this particular garden in Delhi. Okay, near Kashmiri Gate. So we'll be talking about that and what is the historical aspect or art and architecture related aspect, because there are chances that culture and art, which is important part of the syllabus, and mostly UPSC has this tendency to ask those monuments which has been in news somehow. Okay, so we will be discussing that. Okay, then around the world, and then we will see one or two articles for your own read, and then we'll wrap up the session with the practice question. Okay, there is the front page of today's newspaper, so you can go through it. Otherwise, we'll be discussing the important articles from here. Okay, this particular article is related to Elon Musk, who is coming to India. Okay, so about this article we will be discussing in the further sessions, because we will like to know what is the outcome of that particular visit. If there is something significant, then we will be talking about that. Other than that, this particular visit is important for our electrical vehicles. Okay, you know that he is also dealing in these things, and India is also going forward with the electrical vehicles, and we have these hybrid policies, FAME policies, etc. So that can be handy for us. Okay, so we'll be discussing about this particular thing when we will be coming that newspaper comes with the outcomes. Okay, so let's start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. Okay, one more thing, there was this comment which was saying that there are particles like you can say electron, proton, quarks, all these particles are basically fermions. I agree, because that was my mistake last time. So there was this particular thing which was related to fermions and bosons. Bosons are basically related to your energy. Okay, so wherever there is a field, or these particles which are having field or energy, that is basically your bosons. And then these particles like electron, proton, quarks, these are basically your fermions. Okay. Second thing was related to why I am taking the news from the old newspaper, because whenever we are missing a day or we are not able to come live that particular day, so that newspaper would be covered in the next episode. Okay, so that is why we will be covering the articles from the past newspaper as well. Otherwise, daily newspaper discussion will be there. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Other than that, if you want a PDF of this particular session, there will be a Telegram link in your description. You can go and take the you can say PDF from that particular channel. Okay, now let's start with the practice question which was given to you in the last class. Which country is home to Greenwich Meridian? Okay, so United States, India, UK and Fiji. Okay, so if you have a little bit of idea, you know that this particular line is passing through Europe, and or you can say the Western Europe and the African continent. Okay, so these USA, India and Fiji would not be your answer. UK will be your answer. Okay. Now coming to the map here, you can see there are some countries which are given here. First is your United Kingdom, then we have Spain, then we have France, then when we are talking about the African continent, here we have Algeria, Mali, Burkina Faso, Togo, and some part of Ghana over here, and then we have this part over here in Antarctica. Okay. So these are the, you can say, nations which you can remember. These are the countries which you can remember, which are related to your prime meridian, or you can say Greenwich meridian, or 0° longitude. Okay. So moving further, let's start with the first article. Eyes on Eastern Ladakh, new army division likely to be raised this year. Okay. So when we are talking about this army division, so basically in a division there would be nearly 14,000 to 15,000 troops in a division, and every division has a specific task. Okay. Now there is this particular strike mountain strike corps. Okay. When we are talking about these strike corps, these are basically at the time of war, etc., they will be at the front. So these strike corps are basically focused on particular borders. Like we have 3 of them which are focused on Pakistan border, then one is there on our China border. Okay. Now here we are trying to come up with another one. Okay. So here you can see a new army division for possible deployment in Ladakh is likely to implement this year as a part of series of changes which are happening for Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh region. Okay. So this region has been in news. There are various changes which are taking place over there, because obviously this area is basically, you can say, at the border, and that is why it becomes important. The security aspects are basically attached to it, and that is why it becomes important to go for, or you can say, enhanced focus on these particular areas. Other than that, you must have heard about these Chinese aggressions, etc., in the Ladakh region. Recently you must have heard about it. Other than that, Ladakh, in Arunachal Pradesh, etc., these activities keep happening. They go for raids, etc., and you must have heard about the Galwan issue. Okay. Pangong So, Hot Spring area, there is this Despang Plains, Demchok area. All these areas are basically vulnerable, or you can say these are the point of conflict wherein India and China has this conflict over there. Okay. These territories are basically India's territories. They have been illegally occupied in some areas, like when we are talking about this Aksai Chin. Aksai Chin is illegally occupied by China. And other than that, when we are talking about Galwan, Pangong, so these are also areas along the LAC, and China does this kind of poking activities over there. Okay. Well, because of having all this consideration in mind, now we are coming up with a new division over here. Okay. So that division name is 72nd Division. Okay. 72 Division. Earlier this division was supposed to be part of Mountain Strike Group, or you can say there was this 17 MSC Mountain Strike Corps. Okay. It was supposed to be part of it, but considering the situations at Ladakh border, they have decided to create another division, and that division will be under the Northern Command. Okay. Now deployments in that particular area will be taken care with this particular division. Okay. Now why we are creating another division over here? So specifically speaking, if we talk about it, earlier, right now we have 4 divisions. Okay. So out of 4 divisions, here you can say one is based in Mathura, second is based in Ambala, third is based in Bhopal, and fourth is based in Panagarh, that is in West Bengal. Okay. Now this particular 17 MSC Panagarh, that is basically taking care of the border at China, and you can say Ladakh area, this area. Okay. Now the thing is, it was supposed to be created under this particular MSC. But the thing is, considering all these things which are happening in Ladakh, we are going for the newer division. Here, out of all these 4, 3 are focused on Pakistan border. Okay. And 1 is focused on China border. Now, since we know that with Pakistan we have these relations which are, or you can say the China threat is more, you can say, intense as of now. So we are trying to make sure that more focus should be given to China. Okay. So that is one thing. Now 17 MSC, which was partially raised then in 2013, when it was supposed to, it came in picture, that MSC 17 MSC, which came in picture in 2013, and it was supposed to be 2 division, but one was raised at that point of time, and second was supposed to be under this, but that was, now we are creating under the Northern Command. Okay. Now the 3 other, that other, other than the Panagarh ones, Mathura, Bhopal and Ambala, these 3 groups are basically focusing on the Pakistan, and that is 17 MSC is focusing on your China border, and now this 72nd Division will focus on China. Okay. Now we have heard about this Galwan incident over there. Other than that also, when we see this Jammu and Kashmir area, we have this Pir Panjal. Okay. So recently you must have heard that after 2005, this area south of Pir Panjal was quite, you can say, it was quite, there was peace over there. There was no much terrorist activities over there because of the operations which has been done by the Indian Army in that particular area. They have sanitized the zone. Okay. But after some time, or nearly 15 years of the peace over there, and there was some situations. Recently, you must have heard in the last 3 years, there was some kind of attacks. We have seen Uri, Pulwama, all these things which has happened on that particular area. Ultimately, that happens because when there was peace, what we have done is that we have diverted the troops, that troop basically named Rashtriya Rifles. Rashtriya Rifles, that was taking care of that particular area. But when this issue happens on the Ladakh border, we have tried to basically redeploy this group to the you can say eastern sector, or you can say sorry, western sector of the LAC. And because of this particular redeployment, what happens that there was a void which was which happened at that particular area of Jammu and Kashmir and the Pir Panjal area, and because of which ultimately this terrorist activity started again in that particular area. Okay. So now we are saying that this redeployment should not be done. This particular Rashtriya Rifles, which are aware of that particular geography, they should be taking care of that particular area, and there should be another corps or another division which should take care of the Ladakh area. Okay, so that is the rationale behind creating this particular division. Okay, so I hope this is clear, and that is what basically security situation is right now, and that is why we are coming up with this particular division. So simple thing is that since there are more aggressions, there is more risk on the LAC, and because of which we are going for the new division. And this Rashtriya Rifles, which was taking care of the Pir Panjal range, or you can say Jammu and Kashmir LOC area, ultimately they were redeployed to LAC area because of the Galwan incident, and after that they were deployed over there, and that created a void in the LOC area, and because of which now we are saying that they should be sent back there, and there should be another division which should be taking care of that particular area. Okay. Another thing was that there are certain reserve forces. Okay, whenever there is a void, this void has to be filled by someone, and there are some peacetime forces, okay, you can say reserve forces. These reserve forces has been deployed in the Jammu and Kashmir area, and now these reserve forces basically in the peacetime they are going for the training, they are going for the, you can say, upgradation of their statistics, okay, or you can say their capacities, etc. So once they are deployed in that particular area, their trainings are basically hindered. Okay, so that is another second rationale, because these reserve forces which has been deployed in the LOC area, because this Rashtriya Rifles has been deployed in LAC, and that is why that void should be avoided, and these reserve forces should go back to the training. Okay, because they are the forces which are basically prompt at the emergency responses. Okay, so for that preparedness is very much important, and training is very much important for that aspect. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now we can move further with the next article. As pole race heats up, a turtle becomes a mascot in Koch Bihar. Koch Bihar is a place in Bihar, West Bengal. Okay, so don't go with the name, it is in West Bengal. Okay, Koch Bihar. Now, in that particular area, there is this particular village, that is Baneshwar. And in Baneshwar, there is a Shiva temple. In that Shiva temple, there is this particular turtle. His name is Mohan Babu. Okay, and it is said that there are these legends which are saying that this is basically your you can say avatar of Lord Vishnu. Okay, there is this Kachwa avatar, and that is what these locals are attaching to that particular turtle. And now when we are talking about this particular turtle, that is basically a black soft shell turtle. Black soft shell turtle. Okay, so here you can see a poster of EC Mascot Mohan Babu, in an endangered, it is critically endangered species as per IUCN. Okay, black soft shell turtle, this is the mascot. Okay, and this is the real picture. Here you can see this is the real picture. Okay, now there are some, you can say, people are saying that this particular temple is built on the ruins of a temple which was built by Asur, that is, the name was Banashur. Okay, that Banasur has made this temple. On the ruins of this temple, they have created this particular temple, and that was created by a Koch dynasty king Pran Narayan. Okay, So if you want to remember, please remember this fact. There is this Koch dynasty, and the king over there, that is Pran Nayan, he has built that particular temple. Okay, in that particular temple we have this particular species, that is black soft-shelled turtle, and it is critically endangered, and it is acting as a mascot as per the Election Commission of India, and they have actually gone for the giving a status of mascot to this particular species. And why is that? Because locals are quite attached to this particular turtle over here. Here you can see, recognizing the strong bond, the Election Commission has adopted Mohan Babu as its poll mascot to get people out of polling booth on April 19th. Okay. So I hope this is clear. Just remember the name of the turtle, remember the IUCN status and the history behind it, and that Koch dynasty, if they ask in which area that was prevalent, that is the Koch Bihar area in the West Bengal. Okay. Now moving further, how a new platform will instantly disperse subsidies to the farmer. Okay. So when we are talking about certain subsidies, or you can say certain incentives which are given in the agriculture, hold on. Okay. So there are certain incentives which are given by the government to the agriculture, or when we are talking about the farmers, because farmer needs some kind of credit, some kind of help, because our agriculture is quite stressed. It is monsoon dependent. There are various you can say restraints, or you can say there are restrictions in agriculture, because of which government is providing certain help. Okay. Now this particular topic when we are discussing, that is under cluster development program for horticulture, to promote horticulture. And under this particular program there are certain incentives which are being distributed under this particular Suraksha. Okay, this initiative is for the distribution of the incentives. Okay, how it will be done we will see. Okay, the union government has developed a new digital platform to disperse the subsidy to horticulture farmer under the cluster development program to promote horticulture crop. That program or that platform is known as CDP Suraksha. Okay, so the total production has increased from 240.53 million tons to 334.60 million tons. Okay, and that is basically in a decade. In 10 years, in last 10 years, this particular thing has actually increased from 240 to 334. Okay, from the time period is here is given 2010-11 to 2020-21. Okay, so basically in the last in those 10 years, it has been there has been such a increase, or you can say nearly 100 million ton, a little less than that, but nearly you can say 100 million ton has been increased. Okay, so and other than that also, horticulture is a promising area wherein farmers are getting better returns. Okay, so that is why government is going for the cluster development program. In they are going for making some clusters, and wherein they are promoting horticulture. Okay, now it contributes nearly 1/3 of the agriculture's gross value added. When we are talking about the gross value added, it is 1/3, 33% of that agriculture totally. Okay, now what is CDP Suraksha? System for Unified Resources Allocation, Knowledge and Secure Horticulture Assistance. Okay, please remember this particular thing if you can. Okay, System for Unified Resources Allocation, Knowledge and Secure Horticulture Assistance. Otherwise, if you are not able to, you can say remember this, please remember that this particular program is related to, you can say, subsidy dispersion of this particular product, this particular sector which is related to your horticulture. Okay, now what they will do is that earlier what used to happen, that first farmer has to pay the full money, and then afterwards he has to apply for the subsidy, and then after the verification subsidy would come. But now what will happen over here, that on this particular platform, farmer will place an order. Okay, while farmer will place an order, at that particular point of time there would be two kind of payments. One would be done by the one part of the payment which will be done by the government. Okay, second part which is on the part of farmer will have to pay only that much amount. Okay, the amount of the subsidy which is to be paid, that would be paid by the government. Okay, or that particular part will be kept for the government. Farmer has to pay only the amount which is to be paid by the farm on the farmer's part. Okay, now that particular thing has happened, and then there will be a e-voucher which will be generated. Okay, or you can say a e-rupee voucher. We will see what is e-rupee. So there will be this e-rupee voucher. That voucher will be generated. Now farmer will take this particular voucher to the vendor. vendor will give you the, you can say, whatever product you have ordered, like there can be seeds, there can be something related to any kind of input which are necessary for the horticulture related inputs. These particular inputs will be given by you to the or you can say vendor will give you. At that particular point of time, there would be some procedure wherein the farmer will verify that he has received that particular you can say inputs. Okay, now that input will be geotagged with that particular farm. Okay, and then that geotagged images will be uploaded on the this particular portal, and once it is verified, then that particular vendor will get the subsidy, or you can say the vendor will get the money, okay, which has to be paid by the central government. As I told you, there will be two parts of the payment. One will be given by the farmer, second will be given by the government. Okay, and then once verification is done, that part which has to be paid by the government will be given to the vendor. Okay, so that is the idea behind it, that farmer does not has to pay the whole money at initial step. Okay, earlier it used to, what used to happen is that farmer has to pay everything and then subsidy will be coming back to the farmer. Okay, but it will take a lot of time, that money will be locked for a period. Okay, so ultimately farmer cannot use that money, and so this particular method, that is CDP Suraksha, they have come up with this particular idea. I hope this is clear. Okay, so this is basically a platform wherein this subsidy would be provided in a particular manner. They will be using this EUPE vouchers. Okay, so how will CDP Suraksha work? I have already told you this particular thing. And then when we are talking about how the new system is different from the old one, I have told you, like earlier farmer has to pay at the initial stage as well. Okay, now what is CDP, which we will talk. Before that, here you can see, when we are talking about the EUPE voucher, it is a cashless and no contact electronic payment mechanism which can be shared with the beneficiaries of specific purpose or activity by organization or the government via SMS or QR. Okay, so it is basically a voucher which is contactless. Okay, and it will that voucher will be generated through an SMS or QR code, and herein that particular QR or the voucher will be attached with a specific purpose. Okay, so it won't be like that like a farmer has got some subsidy or some money and he will be using it not on the farm but for the personal use. That cannot be done over here, because that particular voucher will be attached to a particular cause, and that cause here is that buying that particular input. Okay, so specifically, and the geotagging is basically a way wherein farmer cannot sell it to someone else for a money, that will be used in that particular area, and then it will be geotagged. Okay, so that is the idea behind it. Okay, now coming to the cluster development program. Okay, so here the cluster development, or it is a component of the central sector scheme of NHB, that is National Horticulture Board. Okay, it is aimed at leveraging the geographical specialization of horticulture clusters. Okay, so there are certain clusters which has geographical specialization, or you can say in that particular area a particular type of agriculture can be done. Okay, and promoting integrated and market led development of the product. Okay, integrated and market led development means that the kind of demand is there in the market, accordingly they will go for development of that. Okay, then they will also go for the marketing, etc. All these things will happen under this particular thing. They will include the production part, then there will be post harvest helps, and then there will be helps related to logistics. Okay, branding, marketing, all these activities will be done through that particular cluster development program. Okay, now there are 55 horticulture clusters which has been identified. 12 has been selected for the pilot project. Okay, other than that, these information you can read if you want to, because this cluster has been divided based on the size. Okay, so that you can give it a read. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Before going ahead, I would like to tell you about EUPE. Here, as I already discussed, it is cashless, contactless method for digital payment. It is a quick response. There will be a quick response code, or you can say QR code, or SMS related strings. Okay, on the basis of that particular SMS, you will be getting the incentives. Okay, which is delivered to the mobile of the users. The user will be able to redeem the voucher without needing a card, digital payments app, or internet banking access, etc. Okay, only thing is you should have that QR, you should have that SMS. Okay, that's it. Now it connects the sponsor of the services with the beneficiary. Sponsor of the services, that is basically your government. Okay, then beneficiary, that is basically a farmer, and then service provider, that is basically the vendor. Okay, so they will be connected via this particular thing. Okay, now this is the infographic which is given of the similar thing. Here one thing which is important is that when we are talking about this EUPE, that is different from the you can say other wallet sector. Okay, how? Because it is for a specific purpose. Okay, now here you can see The mechanism also ensures that the payment to the service provider is made only after the transaction is complete. Okay, the service provider or the vendor, the payment will be done only after the transaction is done. And in this particular case of CDP Suraksha, here that transaction will be done. Afterwards, there will be a verification, there will be a geotagging, and after that there will be this particular payment which is to be done. Okay. So the system is prepaid in nature, hence assures timely payment to the service provider without the involvement of any intermediary. As I told you earlier in that Suraksha, on the portal there will be two kind of, you can say, payments. Okay, one will be given by the farmer, that is prepaid because farmer has placed the order by paying that particular amount. Okay, and second will be this by the government. This particular amount will also be paid by the government, but then it will reflect in the account of that particular vendor once that transaction is complete or verified. Okay. In effect, e-rupees is still backed by the existing Indian rupees, okay, as the underlying assets and specificity of the purpose makes it different from the virtual currencies. It puts it closer to the voucher based payment system. It is a voucher based payment system, and it is different from the you can say other wallet based payments, okay, or virtual currencies, etc. That is because it is basically backed by the currency, Indian currency, or the you can say here, as I told you, Indian rupee. Okay, other than that, it will be for a specific purpose. When we are talking about this virtual currency, you can use that anywhere in the specified areas. Okay, like if there is a particular you can say wallet. Okay, so you can use that particular wallet for particular kind of purchases. Okay, and then there can be a specified you can say groups wherein you can go and purchase. But this particular, when we are talking about this voucher based system, that voucher will be for a single purpose only. Okay, so that is about your e-rupee based system. Now coming to the next article, that is related to Iran seizes cargo ship linked to the Israel. 17 Indians are there. Okay, the idea to take this particular article is not this news, but the thing is the area which is in news. Okay, now what happened on the 1st of April? There was a strike in Iran, or you can say some drones and the missiles which has attacked Iran at that point of time. Okay, and Iran is saying that it was done by Israel. Israel has not taken the responsibility, but Iran said that we will retaliate. Okay, we will retaliate, or we will take revenge or something like that. Okay, so Iran has started doing certain activities in the area, and they have actually captured you can say shipment, okay, which was prominently Israeli. Okay, so that shipment was basically captured here somewhere in the Persian Gulf. Okay, we will see the area, but remember that this area of Persian Gulf is quite important recently. So please remember the countries over here. Okay, then we have Qatar, we have Abu Dhabi, then we have Saudi Arabia. Okay, so these countries are basically over here, and then we have Iran here. Okay, this Bandar Abbas port is quite important. Please remember that as well, and please note the name of this particular strait. Okay, that is basically your Hormuz. Okay, Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so please remember this particular area. This is in the news, so that can be important for you. Other than that, what happened? This was the strike which has happened in 1st of April, and afterwards they have taken this particular crew under their control on 12th or 13th April. Okay, then recently, or you can say a day back, Iran has attacked on Israel. Okay, here you can see Iran attacked on Israel, and they have used nearly 300 missiles and drones, etc., from their own territory, and they have launched on the Israel. And because of which there are certain speculations that this area can go for a war again, because this area has already been stressed. Okay, and now such activities might even escalate the situation in the area. Okay, you know that there is this issue which is related to your Hamas, and Israel and Hamas issue is there. And then recently you must have heard about this Houthis, which has taken part in the, or they have been involved in that particular situation. And then Lebanon's Hezbollah has also been somehow involved in that particular area. So ultimately all these equations which are building up in the West Asia, that can be, or the Middle East we can say, that can be detrimental for this particular area. Okay, Now, after this strike, what has happened? There are certain concern, or there are certain you can say reactions which has been given by various countries. We will be talking about that. Okay. First, 99% of the missiles, drones shut down by the Israel. Okay. So there was nearly 300 drones and missiles which has been launched from the Iran. 99% of them has been shot down by the Israel. Okay. So you can say that Israel has somehow safeguarded themselves with the ironclad. Okay. Second is world urges restraint. There is this G7 meeting which is happening. We will be talking about this in the coming days. G7, as I told you, that would be happening on 14th and 15th of April, and after that there is this Swiss peace process. So that will happen 14th and 15th of June, and then there will be this Swiss peace process that will happen on you can say 16th of June. Okay. So that is one thing which you can remember. So G7 has that they have met recently, and they have also said that they condemn the Iran attack which has happened. Okay. Other than that, when we are talking about the US has said that they are with you can say Israel, but they do not want any kind of war. So if Israel is going for any kind of action against Iran, so they won't be part of that. Okay. So that is what USA has taken their stand, because they do not want war in that particular area. Okay. What Israel has said, that they have actually had a meeting, and they said we will build a regional coalition and exact the price from Iran in the fashion and timing that is right to us. Okay. So that they have said that they will go for a regional coalition, because there are countries which are basically against Iran in that particular area. So they will make a regional coalition. That is what they have said, and not immediately, but they have said that in the right time they will respond to that. Okay. USA will continue to help Israel defend itself, but does not want war in the region. What India has done, India expressed serious concerns at the escalation and hostile between the two, and called for immediate de-escalation. Okay. So that is what India has said. That even Iran has said that on our part we are done with the retaliations, which what we wanted we have done, and now onwards we will not go for any kind of escalation. Now it is up to Israel how Israel will respond to it. Okay. Now moving further, now we have said that we do not war, and we are calling for a de-escalation in the situation. Okay. There should not be any kind of further escalation in the area. Okay. Now what has made us change our stance, because when this October 7th incident happened, we have given support to Israel. We were with the Israel because that was a terrorist attack. So now there are 4 or 5 arguments which has been given by C. Raja Mohan. Okay. You must have heard about his name. He is a prominent scholar when we are talking about the political science. Okay. So he has come up with the 2 or 4 you can say reasons for the shift in the stance. Okay. So Middle East is one of the most successful region for Indian diplomacy over the last decade, but it continues to test India's or you can say Delhi's ability to navigate the region's competing imperative. So basically, when we are talking about this particular region, India is trying to invest more and more of the diplomacy in that particular region, because now when we are talking about our relations with the Europe, we are trying to have good relations with the Israel. For that, this particular area is important for us. When we are talking about having good relations with Afghanistan, Central Asia, Russia and Europe, this region is quite important for us. Okay, we are even going for the India Middle East Europe corridor, or for that also it is important for us. Okay, so that is the one reason. Now this region is war-torn region. There are various tensions in that particular area, and that is why it is testing the diplomacy of India. Okay, again and again we have to make a balance between various you can say groups over there. Okay, when we are talking about Iran is important for us, as well as Israel is also important for us. Iran is important because we are going for the Chabar project. Then when we are talking about this India Middle East Europe corridor, in that particular aspect as well, Chabar port is quite important. Okay, that port, that is the Bandar Abbas, that is important for us. Okay, so ultimately when we are talking about this north south corridor, international corridor, so Iran is important. So in that aspect we know that Iran is important for us. And then there is this Israel, and Israel is important because that is an ally of USA, and other than that also now recently our ties with Israel has improved. Okay, so that is another reason. So now let's talk about it. India's quick call for de-escalation today in the aftermath of the Israel's retaliatory strike against the Israel stands in the contrast to the Delhi's instant expression of the solidarity with the Tel Aviv at the highest political level immediately after the October 7 incident. Okay, So basically here he is saying that after this particular incident, we are saying that Israel should go for the de-escalation. And earlier, when October 7th, when it happens, the terror attack happened by the Hamas on Israel, so we have said that we are with the Israel, we are, we have shown the solidarity to Israel. Okay, so there are four broad transitions which has happened. Okay, so there is difference between the responding to a brutal non-state actor and conflict between two major states. Okay, as I told you, there was a issue of terrorism. Here there is a issue of two states. Okay, these are two legitimate states which are against each other. Okay, so that is why de-escalation can be done. When we are talking about terrorism, India has a clear stance. We will not tolerate terrorism in any form. Okay, so that is one thing. Then with Iran making clear that its retaliations against the Israel attack on its embassy Damascus is now complete. Iran is saying that our retaliation is complete. So that is why India will hope that Tel Aviv will avoid new military actions that will trigger a dangerous situation of war in that particular region. Okay, so that is another thing. Then we are trying to go for a balanced, or you can say we are trying that there should be an restraint. Okay, and we are viewing as a balanced and in favor of regional peace. Okay, so if Israel is going for the restraints that will maintain peace in that particular region, then second reason, when we are talking about recognizing the complexity of the regional politics. Okay, in the past, India's regional policy was framed in terms of the contradiction between the West and the Middle East. Now there are problems in the Middle East as well. Earlier, what has happened that whenever we are building our foreign policy, our main focus was that there is a gap between West and the Middle East. Okay, now the problem is even the Middle East is divided among themselves. Okay, there are intrastate issues over there. Interstate and intrastate conflicts in the Middle East are deep and pervasive. Forever balance in engagement with the key regional actors like Egypt, Iran, Israel, Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. Okay, so these are all the countries which are important for India. Okay, and we are trying to make balance with all of these. Okay, and when we are talking about the Turkey and when we are talking about Iran, they are having some problems. Okay, when we are talking about Israel and Iran, they are having problems. Okay, when we are talking about the Arab nations and Israel, they are having problems. But all these countries are important for us, so we are trying to make a continuous balance. Okay, so that is one of the reasons that in that particular issue, when there is issue between Iran and Israel, we are trying to make a balance. Then there should be no escalation. Okay. Now, when we are talking about the third thing, religion can be dominant factor in dealing with the Middle East. Okay, so there is this particular narrative which is saying that whenever we are talking about this particular area, we have this religion factor which is dominant. Okay, that is basically related to your this is a Muslim dominated area. Okay, earlier when there was this policy in the EUPE regime, so this policy was that there is a Muslim vote bank in India and there is this appeasement. Okay, but then when we are talking about this particular government, okay, so they are quite close with Israel, but with this particular statement that Israel should not go for the more escalation, it is saying that it is nothing to do with the religion, it is purely the interest. Okay, purely about the peace in that particular region, because that region is important for us. Okay, it is not about the religion, it is about the region, because that is important for us for the trade related to Afghanistan, Russia, when we are talking about the Europe at the large. Okay, so that is another part. Then here the NDA government is signaling that it is approach is not ideologically predetermined but based on the merits of the issue at hand. Okay, as I told you, this is about the reason and not about the religion. Okay, and fourth is non-ideological engagement with reason is necessarily complement to India's expanding interest in the Middle East. As I told you, there are we are going for the investments, we are going for the infrastructure building, so that investments are basically, or you can say our interest in the Middle East are guiding this particular you can say instance which we have taken recently. Okay, now here India Middle East Europe corridor, which we have already discussed. Iran has long been vital in shaping India's relation with the Afghanistan, Pakistan and Central Asia. Middle East is the demanding region, and dealing with it is not for the simple minded and the faint hearted, because that region required a lot of, you can say, diplomacy. Okay, and India is doing good in that particular regard. Delhi is fast learning to navigate the regions unending conflicts. As I told you, this region has always been in the conflicts, and that is why India is trying continuously to make a balance in this particular region. Okay, now I hope this is clear. There are 4 reasons because of which we have actually changed this particular stance. One is the war or that particular attack of October 7th was a terrorist attack, and this is a war between 2 states. Okay, that is why one stance. Second is our interests are growing in that particular area. It is about the region and not about the religion. And then we have investments interest, we have our new infrastructure projects like India Middle East Europe corridor. Okay, so all these things are the factors which are basically constituting towards the foreign policy which we are taking in that particular region. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now we can move further. Here, this is the area. As I told you, please remember this particular things. One thing, that incident has happened over here, that they have taken a shipment under their control, Strait of Hormuz. Okay, and this is basically Iran, and this is Persian Gulf. Okay, then when we are talking about this particular area, this Red Sea area has been in news for various reasons, Houthi rebels, etc. Okay, then we have this particular area of Somalia coast over where piracy activities were there. And now when we are talking about this particular area, this is Israel. Please note that Israel does not have direct boundary, or you can say border, with Iran. Okay, so please remember that. Do not get confused because this area is quite complicated over here. So please remember that when we are talking about Israel, Israel has border with Egypt, it has border with Syria, it has border with Jordan, and it has border with Lebanon. Okay, so remember all these factors. Okay, now this particular area which we have already discussed, that is the area where this particular conflict happened, that shipment has been taken. This is Persian Gulf, Strait of Hormuz. Okay, now moving further, then there is this particular Karshia Bagh, okay, which is in Delhi, or Kurshia, however you want to pronounce it. Okay, so what happened is that this particular area, or this particular garden, which has been built by you can say Begum, her name was Karsia Begum. Okay, she was wife of Muhammad Shah Rangila. You must have heard his name. Okay, so she was added to his harem. Okay, but then there was some issues afterward. She was actually not being favorite of Muhammad Shah Rangila in particular phase, and then after the death of the emperor, she has taken control of that particular thing, because Ahmad Shah, when we are talking about Muhammad Shah's son, he was not an able leader. That is why she has taken the control, and she wanted to be remembered. Okay, like Noor Jahan, she was a wife of Emperor Jahangir. She wanted to be remembered, and that is why she has gone for the creation of monuments. Okay, and one of such monument is that particular garden that is basically near Kashmiri Gate. Okay, so she has made this garden, and at that particular point of time, this was garden, there was mosque, there was this particular gateway, all these things were there. But in 1857, okay, aftermath of 1857, in 1857, what had happened in Delhi area, because of the conflicts between, or you can say the confrontations between British troops and the you can say our revolutionaries of 1857. There was this conflict, and they have used cannons on this particular area, and that is why this has turned into a ruins. The gateway, etc., has been turned into ruins, but this particular pavilion is still standing over there, and this particular area has been beautified again, and this is been actually used as a morning walk garden by the people in that particular area. Okay, so please remember the name, that is Karsia Bagh, that is in Delhi. Okay, it was built by Karsia Begum. She is wife of Muhammad Shah Rangila, and this particular area was you can say affected by the 1857 revolution, and now it is acting as a garden for morning walks, etc. So please, you can give it a read. That is broad things about this particular garden. Okay, so this is you can just remember the monument and who has built it and who was she. Okay, now volcanic vortex rings. Okay, I will not go into details of all these things, but recently there is this mountain, that is Mount Etna. Okay, it is in basically Europe. Okay, so this mount has it is not erupted, but basically time to time it comes up with this volcanic vortex rings. Okay, so when there is a mountain, or you can say volcanic mountain, there are craters, okay, or there are, you can say, some openings. These openings are quite big and circular in size, and then these you can say rings of gases which are coming out of it. Okay, so since these rings are coming out of that particular hole that is in circular in nature, and it will come up with a force, and so these rings of gases will look something like this. Here you can see there is this particular ring. Okay, so these rings here you can see. Okay, these rings are basically called your vortex rings. Okay, so volcanic vortex rings emerge from the Etna volcano in Sicily in Italy. Okay, so here in the map, here you can see this is the boot of the Italy. Okay, so here you can see it looks like a boot. Okay, so that is why this is called boot of the Italy. And then here you can say we have Sicily. Okay, and this is largest island, you can say, in that particular area. And here we have this Mount Etna. Okay, so please remember that this Mount Etna, it is in Sicily, in the Mediterranean region, near Italy. Okay, so here there was this volcanic vortex ring which is emerging from the volcano in that particular area. So please remember that. Okay, here you can see Mount Etna, UNESCO World Heritage Site it is, on the eastern coast of the Sicily, the largest island in the Mediterranean Sea, lying just off the toe of Italian boot. Okay, there are 5 craters which are responsible for such eruptions. Okay, now what is vortex rings? Here you can say vortex rings are generated when gas, predominantly water vapor, is released rapidly through a vent in the crater. Okay, vents that has opened up in the Etna crater is mostly perfectly circular. So the rings that have been seen above the mountain since April 2nd are circular in nature. Okay, so April 2nd, this particular mountain, and nearly there are these rings which are happening over there. Nearly 40 rings will be there in that particular time. But in this particular time, there are nearly more than 100 rings which has already been erupted. Okay, so no volcano on earth produces as many vapor you can say rings, or you can say volcano rings, that as Etna mountain. Okay, so please remember this about Etna mountain, which is in Sicily, Italy, near Italy. Okay, so I hope this is clear. Now we can move to the another part that is related to your Dragon's Egg Nebula. Okay, they will not ask you in details about these nebulas, etc. But know that when we are talking about this Dragon's Egg Nebula, there are certain things which we can say. In that particular nebula, what is happening here is there are 2 stars. Okay, one here you can see. There are 2 stars. One is here, second star is here. Now what in that particular group, here you can see there is this clouds of dust. Okay, here you can see this particular area are clouds of dust. So now one of them star is having a electromagnetic field, but second does not. Okay, so what is the reason behind it? That reason has been decoded by the you can say scientist, or there is a theory. Okay, what they are saying is that there is this particular star. Earlier there used to be another star in that particular system. It was a tri-star system. Okay, so earlier there was one star, there was another small star, and there was a second star. Okay, that is basically this. Whenever one star consumes the another star, at that particular point of time, there will be various things, or you can say various emission will happen, various material which will be in that particular area. Okay, so this is what the reason behind this dust cloud. Okay, so there was this third star which has been engulfed by Dragon's Egg, and that is why it is called Dragon's Egg Nebula. Okay, so I hope this is clear. This is kind of simple. There was a 3-star system. One of the star has been engulfed by the another star, or you can say one of the star has been merged with the another star. Okay, so they are generated electromagnetic fields around that particular star, and the second star or the third star which was there, this particular, that has remained like that only. And because of the consumption of one star by the second star, this cloud of dust has been formed. Okay, so that is about your Dragon's Egg Nebula. Okay, and why it is called Dragon's Egg? Because there are certain star or the formulations over here which is known as dragons. Okay, they have okay, and because of which we are saying that since it is in the vicinity, we are calling it as a Dragon's Egg. Okay, now moving further, For your own read, there is this particular article where, when is movable asset sizable enough to declare, and it depends on the case to case. That is what Supreme Court has said. Recently, you know that a particular person who is going for the election, he has to declare their property. Okay. Now Supreme Court has said that not all property, not all movable property should be declared, but if it is, it should be declared only if it is a sizable property. Okay. And Supreme Court said that this sizable word, which will be you can say taken care by the case to case basis, it depends on the particular case. Okay. Now let's say there is this example which is given, that if a person is having 10 watches of particular company which is of moderate rate. Okay. So then such a particular watch should not be actually mentioned as a movable property, or should not be declared. That would be fine. But if he is having 10 watches which are basically luxurious watches which are of a huge amount, in that case they have to declare it. Okay. So that is about the sizable asset. Okay. And since it can be subjective, very subjective, and that is why it is to be decided on the case to case basis. Okay. So that is what the verdict. Please go through it and you can read it. This particular part is quite important. Okay. That is from which particular statute there is this provision of declaring the assets. Okay. That is in your Representative of People 1951 Act. There is this section 100 clause 1. Okay. So please go through it. Okay. Now second, this particular advertisement was there out of the manifesto of BJP. Okay. We are not promoting any party over here, but the thing is, since there are chances, if this government comes back in the power, they will be working on these particular areas. Okay. So please focus on these particular areas for your prelims as well. Okay. Because see, they are talking about tribal welfare. Okay. There is this particular scheme, that is PM Janman. So that is related to your PVTGs. So that scheme become important. Okay. Then they are talking about this Ayushman Bharat. Ayushman Bharat itself is an important scheme for you. Okay. That is an umbrella program. Other than that, they are also talking about the Ayushman Arogya Mandir. Okay. So what is this? Please know that. Okay. Then there is this Janjatiya Gaurav Varsh. Okay. All these things which are keywords which has been mentioned in that particular advertisement, or you can say this particular infographic. Please go through it. Okay. So that would be beneficial for your prelims examination. Okay. Now with that, I would move towards the practice question. Okay, there is one more article that is related to lamps to lotus, to bullocks to hand, the story of symbols. Okay, when we are talking about the symbols of political parties, there is a certain way, and here you can say allotment of the symbol. This particular paragraph is important for you. Okay, so these first two paragraphs, please go through these two paragraphs. Otherwise, you can remember, rest of the article you can leave. But these two particular paragraphs you can remember. Okay. Now let's move to the last part, that is your practice question. Why is Mohan Babu culturally significant in the Baneshwar village? Okay. It is associated with the 17th century Shiva temple. B. It is reversed as an incarnation of Hindu deity Vishnu. Third is, C statement is, it symbolizes the call to exercise democratic rights. Or D is all of the above. So you have to choose the most appropriate answer out of these four. So you can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave, and I hope you are watching our target UPSC Prelims 2024 series, which would be important for you, that would be beneficial for you. Other than that, for your current affairs, you can watch our other programs that is related to your in focus, in depth, etc. Okay. So with that, I would like to take your leave. I'll see you in the next session. Till then, have a good day. Thank you.